It's in the cut. I'm here with my dude. Introduce yourself, brother.
How you doing? I'm Doug Mackinnon.
Tell them what bands you've been in, man.
Well, jeez. Started off in a band called No System in Boston when I was in high school. It was with a guy named Al Quint, was our singer, who had a fanzine called Suburban Voice, which was one of those old school fanzines that was done on like Xerox paper and whatnot. And so he was a little bit older than us, but it was great to be in a band.
Was this?
That was '84. I moved out to California right after high school, and I played, and luckily I got into an already established band called the Vandals. Oddly enough, I had their sticker on my car when I moved to California because I was a fan of the band.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And what'd you do in the band when you say you were in the band?
Yeah, I know. I played drums.
Oh, you
played drums, yeah.
How'd you get like linked up with those dudes, man? Like since you just moved out there, like with drums, circles.
Well, things were a little bit easier back in those days because it wasn't, you know what I mean, punk was still relatively new. I mean, it was getting pretty big in LA at that time, you know, but still was like everybody kind of knew everybody, and it was just a random thing. I was at a party, and I started talking to this guy, and he's like, oh, he goes, you got kind of an East Coast accent, where are you from? And I'm like, oh, I'm from Boston. He goes, what are you doing? I said, oh, I moved out here to try to play in a punk rock band and surf and hang out. And he goes, all right, perfect. He goes, I play drums in the Vandals, and I want to play bass, and you kind of look like me, so it won't even look like we got a new drummer. Just we got a new bass player.
That's intense. Now, like what band?
Now I'm playing in a band called Nobody's Hero, which is myself, Joe, who was in Against All Authority, local Miami band that a lot of people know. My friend Dave, who I was in another band called La Vieja Guardia and Guajiro with.
Yeah, Guajiro.
Yeah.
We played with them like in the dugout once.
Really?
Yeah, we played with you guys in the dugout once. It was you, us, Trust No One. I think Dance for Justice played that night.
Oh yeah. No, that was La Vieja Guardia.
Oh yeah, Guardia.
Yeah.
We played that night.
Oh what? Really?
Yeah,
that was our first show.
Bro?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even know that. We played it.
We're on this earth for like a limited period of time, and you know, your art, your music, or you know whatever your art might be, you know whether it's cutting hair, well, yeah, and you know you leave that behind. That's really all you leave behind. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like you know you put out a record, and that record is like a snapshot of a period in time in your life. People you're hanging out with, wherever your head was at, you know, that's kind of what you're playing musically and writing lyrically, and it's, you know, it lives on forever. So, you know, in 100 years, you know what I mean, I'm not going to be here, but, you know, some little crazy kid who likes aggressive music, you know, might pick up a CD that I'd done, you know, or whatever they're listening to music on, you know, steal it off the internet and put it on his iPod, and you know, and just kind of listen to it, and you know, be like, oh, who were these dudes, you know?
You saying again about the Dave Grohl being in a hardcore band?
Oh yeah, he was in Scream.
Scream and Flea.
And Flea was in Fear.
Jesus, man.
Yeah.
And Zach was like Inside Out.
Yep.
That's crazy. All those like big bands that I grew up listening to when I was a little kid, I would have never known that that's where their bass comes from.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to sound like them, not knowing they came from something else, you know.
Well, I'm friends with those guys in Pearl Jam too, because they lived out in Long Beach for a minute, and they were all, you know, when I first met them, and I told them I played in like punk and hardcore bands, like, oh yeah, shit, and they were all in like, a couple of them were in hardcore bands up in Seattle.
So Doug, thank you for coming out.
It was a pleasure.
This is in the cut, and thank you for coming out. Thank you for showing us love. More episodes to come.
All right.
By the way, this is a regular show.